On this edition of Hood County Library, we're going to talk about the 2016 Summer Reading Club, chat with the local author Brandy Herr, and take a look at what the hot titles of the library are this month.
I'm Casey Mayberry, and I'm the Youth Services Librarian here at the Hood County Library. The Summer Reading Club, it's kind of two things. It's like a passive program where they read at home and fill in logs, and then they get prizes for each log they fill in. And then it's programs here at the library, fun things to do with friends during the summer, get out of the house, have some fun, watch movies. Registration starts May 23rd. You just come to the library on May 23rd and we will sign you up. When you sign up for a Summer Reading Club, you will get a folder with a reading log, and once you do all the things on the log or fill in all the bubbles, you can bring it back to the library, and we'll give you a prize for that log, and we'll give you another log. There are 3 logs you'll have to fill out completely to be eligible to win the grand prize, which is a Kindle Fire. But Mondays at 10:30, it's a short story time, and then it'll be centers. There's a big bowling set, and there'll be a sensory play and blocks and musical instruments and a craft that parents and their kiddos can do together. Monday afternoon at 2 will be target audience, 8 to 12. It's more themed. Like each week will be a different theme. Like there's Ninja Week and camping. We do cool science experiments and team games and crafts during that one. On Tuesdays at 2, it's 10 plus target audience, and we do play video games and board games and crafts. Just kind of a fun day to hang out at the library. And then Wednesdays at 10:30, target audience 4 to 7. It's a cool story time. We'll read books, we'll play games, we'll make crafts. 5 Saturdays during the summer, we're going to have guests come in and just entertain us. June 18th, it'll be Nancy and her friends. If anybody around remembers Larry the Crocodile from elementary school, he's really cool. She'll bring her mannequin American friends and entertain us. On June 25th, it's Astronomy on Wheels, which is a mobile planetarium. So they'll be here in the library, and we'll get to go into their planetarium dome and see a planetarium show. Or July 9th, it'll be a karate demonstration in class from the karate instructor at the YMCA. On July 30th, it'll be magician John O'Brien. He's a comedy magician, and each year he changes his show to be the theme of summer reading, so it's different every year. He's supposed to be really good, so I'm excited. Some of the summer entertainment shows are ticketed, so the tickets will go on sale about 2 weeks before the show starts, and it's first come, first serve. And you just call ahead and come to the library and grab your tickets, however many you need.
There will also be movie screenings every Tuesday at 4:30. Bring It On June 21st. Cool Runnings on June 28th. The Karate Kid on July 5th. Pixie Hollow Games and You're a Good Sport, Charlie Brown on July 12th. Fast Girls on July 19th. The Mighty Ducks on July 26th. For more information about the Summer Reading Club, contact Hood County Library by going in person at 222 North Travis Street in Granbury, calling at 817-573-3569, or looking them up online on Facebook or at hoodcountylibrary.com. Next, we'll hear from local author Brandy Herr about her spooky stories.
My name is Brandy Herr. I'm the author of Haunted Granbury, a book released by the History Press, and the short story called The Calico, which is in an anthology called 9 Deadly Lives, an anthology of feline fiction released by Firestar Press. This excerpt is from my book, Haunted Granbury. It talks about the ghost stories from around Granbury Square that we talk about on the Granbury Ghosts and Legends tour that I conduct. This happened at the Langdon Center. It's believed that a little 5-year-old girl named Audrey Gordon haunts the building. The day after I conducted one of the Ghosts and Legends tours, I received a phone call. On the other end was the excited voice of Miranda Scott, who had joined us for the tour the night before. I got something, she cried. She went on to explain that as I finished the story at the Langdon Center and continued back down Pearl Street to the square, she decided to hang back with her daughter to snap some random pictures for a school project. It is important to note that these pictures were taken with nothing more than a simple cell phone camera. No expensive ghost hunting equipment was used. This was merely a mother taking pictures of her daughter while on a fun outing. Scott and her daughter wanted to hurry and rejoin the group to avoid missing the next story, so she called out, "Bye, Audrey." She then snapped one more photo, this time the front of the window to the left of the door, and quickly caught up to the group. Later that night, as the family returned home, Miranda Scott began reviewing the pictures she took. When she reached that last picture of the Langdon Center, the picture she took immediately after calling out to Audrey, her heart skipped a beat. She could not quite believe what she was seeing. She had to get clarification from her other family members to make sure she was not merely seeing things. Even her husband, who leans more toward the skeptical side of the spectrum, upon seeing the picture admitted grudgingly, "Okay, yeah, I can see her." After this explanation, I of course was immediately intrigued. I requested that she text the photograph to me, though it was difficult to see on my phone screen, so I sent it to my email to be viewed on the computer. What I found as I opened my inbox left me speechless. In the center of the window, down near the bottom, reaching to the proper height of a child of 5, stood a figure. This was not merely a shadow figure, not an amorphous blob that could possibly look human if you tilt your head and squint your eyes. No, this was the clear, unmistakable figure of a little girl. The little girl appeared to be looking slightly down, as the bottom half of her face was a bit hidden in shadow. Below her face, one could make out the old-fashioned high collar that was the style in the early 1900s. Her hair was parted down the middle with a small pigtail or bun on either side of her head. "Bye, Audrey," the woman had called out. Audrey did not want to say goodbye. I started writing Haunted Granbury because I run the Granbury Ghosts and Legends tour with my mom. And when I started doing the tours, I always wanted to write a book, but never had the time. And finally I started thinking, well, maybe now is the time to go ahead and start, getting my author career going and writing the book. I actually found an ad from a publisher that was looking for local ghost storybooks. So I contacted them all excited, pitching them the idea, and they write back saying, meh. That, oh, we've had someone pitch Granbury before and we don't think it's a very good location, so we don't think we're going to go for it. And I said, well, it's a really good location. We may be a small town, but we're a very touristy town. We have people coming from all over the state, all over the country on our tours. And we're right, an hour from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so it would be a really good location. And she writes back, well, you can go ahead and send it, send the proposal and I'll pitch it to them, but they're probably going to say no. So I got discouraged. Not even a month later, I get an email out of the blue from a totally different publishing company saying, would you like to write a book about the ghosts of Granbury? I thought, okay, yeah, that, sounds good to me. So I still had to do the proposal and everything, make sure we're on the same page. Sorry for the pun. But they wrote back and they approved it, and so I went on with them. And from what I understand, the publisher that I went with is actually a little bit better than the first one that I pitched, so it worked out. This is the beginning of my short story, The Calico, featured in 9 Deadly Lives. The popular superstition says that you will have terrible luck if a black cat crosses your path. But for me, that wasn't the case. What brought about my downfall was a calico. It began late on a Monday evening. Earlier that afternoon, my wife of 12 years had stormed out the door, carrying a hastily packed suitcase, screaming at me for not listening to her, or something. That night, I found myself sitting alone in my ragged recliner, staring blankly at the television, tuned to some program about dysfunctional marriages. In my left hand was an empty glass. In my right hand, I held an almost empty bottle of whiskey. I decided to bypass the frivolity of mixing it with cola this time and simply get straight to the point. I had just finished the last of the bottle when I heard the distinct mew come from the front porch. I rolled my eyes and ignored the call, desperately attempting to extract just one more drop from the dry bottle. Darn neighbor cats, I thought. Probably that stupid tomcat. I should go out there and show it the underside of my boot. The mewing graduated steadily to loud, plaintive meowing, and I became convinced the cat was not about to leave anytime soon. I heaved a sigh as I pushed my body up out of the armchair, then trudged to the door, determined to put an end to the racket one way or another. I flung open the door, my foot at the ready, but I paused in mid-kick. Sitting on the doormat, looking up at me, was not the mangy old tomcat that constantly yelled outside my bedroom window, always looking for another cat in heat. Instead, I looked down to see a beautiful little calico cat. The brown and black splotches contrasted brilliantly against her snow-white backdrop of fur. What stopped me cold, however, was her piercing gaze. She stared knowingly at me, looking deep into me, with bright emerald green eyes. I didn't know what else to do, so I stepped lamely to the side, holding the door open as the cat walked casually inside the house. That is all about Who You Know. It was actually an author friend of mine. That's what I love about being an author, is it's such a great cohesive community. So many other communities out there, people are trying to compete with each other, and it's trying to undermine each other. But I haven't noticed that with authors. With authors, we'll let each other know about opportunities. We'll share each other's books and try to help each other out. And it was actually a fellow author of mine, Tui Snyder. She actually talks about us in one of her books. She wrote about paranormal Texas, about paranormal locations all around. So she actually talks about me heavily in her book, so check it out, Paranormal Texas by Tui Snyder. But she will tag me in a lot of things, and I guess she knows that I like animals and cats and everything, and she always tags me in funny cat videos on Facebook. And so one time she happened to tag me in a blog post that she had seen from Firestar Press, that it was an open call for submissions for this new book, and looking about unusual cat stories. And I thought, okay, that's fine, and I didn't have a cat story at the time, but something to keep in the back of my mind. And like always happens, I'm laying in bed at night trying to turn my brain off and go to sleep, and a story pops in. And so I started forming that in my head, and the next day I sat down and wrote it out and submitted it, and they accepted it. Paranormal stories are just fun to write. I've been telling them for 6 years now with the ghost tours, and people always, get creeped out, and it's fun. And it's also, about exploring what we don't really know or understand. So it's getting out there, and no one's really going to fully understand it until we become a ghost ourselves. But it's still fun. So it's the titillating part of, ooh, it's scary, but also it's about the research and what do you think causes it, and trying to delve more into a realm that we never really fully can understand. Possibly I've had other people, once Haunted Granbury came out, say, oh, you should write about haunted so-and-so or this town or that town. And I might do that, but I think fiction is more what I'm really wanting to pursue right now. Fiction's what I love doing, because it's creating a completely new story out of your head, and that's just what's fun. Is just you can it's not just doing research and writing down stories that already exist. It's coming up with a whole new thing, and the possibilities are endless. Plus, it can also hopefully expand my audience reach versus, not just, the people that are interested in Granbury, but, just interested in a good story. So I've got a few other stories. I've got a young adult novel that I'm working on, still in the, horror, paranormal genre. And got another adult horror novel that I probably need to get back to, but that's what I'm trying to focus on more now, is going more the fiction route. Still sticking with the paranormal stuff. I've got a couple of children's books that have nothing to do with paranormal that I'd like to see get going as well. Two big pieces of advice for new authors. One, research your publisher. And I'm not talking extensive research, I'm talking just Googling their name and looking for reviews. I made that mistake when my first children's book, that was the first book I had out. And I, found this publisher. It's actually a Facebook friend of mine posted that she was getting published, so I said, oh, what publisher did you use? And that's what I did. But I didn't research them, and I just, I fell into the whole, I'm gonna be a published author trap, and you just get on the excitement, and it was not the best experience. I actually had to purchase the rights back to the story, so now it's not on the market anymore, but that way I can get it done right. But that would be a big thing, is just, because actually after I signed the contract, I Googled the name, and then that's when I was seeing all the negative reviews, but it's a scam, they're just wanting authors' money, and I'm like, great. So that's a big thing. The other thing, it kind of goes back to my story about how I wrote the Calico, is just get out there and talk to people. It's who you know. And authors are really great people to approach. They're always ready to help promote literacy. They want to promote people to write and get it out there. And the more you know, and just make friends with them. Don't try to be, I'm trying to push this on you and, trying to use you for what you can do. Just make friends with authors and learn their craft, and of course read. The more you read, the more you can craft your own voice. I know some people are scared to read things that they'll think that, oh, they won't be able to find their own voice from that. But that's not the case. You don't become a chef by not tasting other foods, So you want to sample as much as possible, then you can find the proper voice that you want to use. Well, I volunteer. I'm actually on the board of Friends of the Library. I'm the recording secretary. I kind of fell into that too. I always just seem to fall into what I do. But Friends of the Library is a really great organization. They're a support arm for the library. So when the library needs funds for programs like the summer reading program, that sort of thing, they can come to us and we can give them what they need. We also do scholarships for budding librarians. We do a Reading with Baby project where they actually take little packages of little board books to the hospital for the newborns and their mothers, so you can start reading at an early age, very early age. So it's just a really great program that just helps promote literacy in general in Hood County and helps support the library. And I just love volunteering with them, because why wouldn't an author want to support an organization that supports the library? I mean, reading is always going to be relevant. I know whenever the Kindle and the ebooks came out, people thought, oh, the printed word is dead, everyone's going to go to that. And studies are still showing that the printed word is just fine. Books are flourishing now more than ever. Even though, the big box stores may be going under, slowing down, people still want books. And not everyone can afford a Kindle or can afford to go out and buy new books. So it's really great that there's a free resource for any sort of researches you want, and it keeps it updated. It's not just dusty old tomes that no one ever, that's not relevant anymore. Plus, of course, there's so many other services. You can use the internet, so it helps people that, maybe if you don't have the internet at home, now you can come and find jobs, or, send in your resume or do research. That kids can do research on the computer for their school projects. They have, you can look up genealogy or just other great programs that promote literacy, the summer reading program. Just, there's always things going on at the library, and people may think, oh, well, pardon me, people may think that, like that, there's no reason for it. I can just do it all online at my house. Well, no, not everyone has that luxury. Or, sometimes your internet might be out or something. So there's always going to be relevance to the library, no matter what new age thing comes up. Well, it all goes back to the meeting people and who you know. One thing, of course, there's plenty of books here for research on how to get started with writing, how to publish. Actually, I run the Friends of the Library blog on the website. And right now I'm doing a guest author blog post where several of my author friends are sending me their own blogs to put up. And it's all about what libraries mean to them. And one of my friends actually became a published author because of her local library. She, wanted to get started, and she happened to find a flyer at the library that was advertising a writers group. So she started going to the writers group there at the library and found like-minded people and was able to get hints and ideas, and she actually has, I think, 3 books, at least 3 or 4 books under her belt published now because of that writers group at the library. So there's so many resources. A lot of times libraries will bring in visiting authors to do talks and book signings, so that's a great way to meet them right there. So it's just a really great way to network and learn more about the craft. Well, I live here, so of course this is my library, and it's just it's a really great place with Friends of the Library running the bookstore. We've got one of the best bookstores around, I think, that supports the library and the best prices, and it's a really welcoming area, a really welcoming community here at the library. You can find just about anything you need here.
For more information about Brandy, her books, and events she'll be attending, visit her website at author.brandyherr.com. You can also find her on Facebook and Twitter. Check out what book titles are hot this month at the Hood County Library.